Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Art of Female Muscle podcast. I am your host, Jeremy Remo, aka Physique Fan 1, and I am delighted today to have a new guest. She is an IFBB Women's Physique Pro. She was recently at the Omaha Pro last year, where she placed in the top 5, and I am delighted to have her as a guest. And let me get this working here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to say hello to Megan Russell. Megan, wonderful to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. So now, obvious question, the one that starts all of this, how did all of this begin for you? How did your bodybuilding begin? Did you have a athletic background growing up? Were there any sports that precipitated that?
I was always into sports. I was always playing basketball, soccer, track, you name it, I did it. So what got me involved specifically in bodybuilding is I was a little heavier than I wanted to be after I had my second baby, after I had my second daughter. And I just got back in the gym and I was going to do a one-time bikini prep and be done. And that turned into what it is now, into a women's physique pro.
Was there anybody in particular that encouraged you to do it? Usually I hear people, it's like when they see someone training in the gym or something, they'll ask, hey, do you happen to compete or something? Did that happen with you? Or was it
No,
just,
it was just a hair, just a random. I woke up one morning and I said, I'm going to do a bikini prep.
okay. So what was your very first show? Was it in the NPC or was it within any other federations?
It was the NPC, and I did start in bikini, and it was Battle at the River in Chattanooga.
Okay. And I've got some of your contest history here. And then you, like you said, started in bikini 2018. From what I see here, you stayed in that until 2021, and then you moved to figure.
I did move to figure. Yeah.
What was it that caused you to make the move?
I really liked muscle and the way that it felt carrying more muscle on my frame as compared to just being really, really small. And honestly, the real driving factor is I got to eat more food to grow.
There is always that factor too.
Yeah.
So I see here that you then in 2024 you got your pro card.
Yeah.
I believe it was at NPC Junior Nationals.
Yeah.
2024 you won both Class B women's physique and the overall. So congratulations to that.
Yeah.
And then you made your pro debut at the Atlanta Pro.
3 weeks later.
Right. And I did have to ask about that, is that you went from first at Junior Nationals at the very best to a no placing at the pro debut. So I got to ask, what happened?
I placed right in the middle of the pack at my very first show. And I really only wanted to do that to see exactly how far off I was from being competitive with the best in the world, like the best pros in the world. It was just to get a gauge and get my feelers out to see how much I needed to work toward and for how long before I could be competitive.
Okay, so it was like a test.
Yeah, more or less a test. I'd had no inclination on first or second call outs at that point. I just wanted to get my feelers out there.
Okay. From what I saw in your competition history, you got really good placings in both bikini and figure early on. Like in a lot of them, you were in the top 5 in a lot of those. Why make the switch to women's physique out of figure?
My feedback on my second junior national show from where I think it was placed third in figure, Sandy Williamson, her feedback to me was make the switch to women's physique. Get your feet wet, give it a shot. So, okay. The very next year, I came back to junior nationals and I competed in figure and physique, and I think I placed pretty poorly in figure that year, but I turned around and won the overall in women's physique. So I just took Sandy's advice.
Did she give you any particulars as to why she felt that you had too much muscle for figure, or was it just flat out telling you just need to make the switch?
I had quite a bit of muscle density, and I have a thicker waist. I'm really blocky, really developed abs and a thick core, and that just fits better in a division where you don't have to have this coveted tiny waist.
Okay. And then also last year at your showing at the Omaha, there you were in the top 5, and not necessarily a lot of competitors, but the quality. I mean, you had 4 Olympians in that. I know. It's like 3 of which were with you there in the top 5, those being Amanda Mikado, Marika Jones, and Paula Ranta.
I know.
And then in sixth, right behind you, you had Natalie Ray Wolf. How did it feel to get a top 5 placing among some of the very best in the world?
I cried. I was just humbled. I was just really humbled, really flattered.
Okay.
Mm.
After that show, what was the judges' feedback as to what to improve on after that? Because clearly you're doing something right if you're getting the top 5 placing among that caliber of competitor. But was there anything that they gave you as to what to improve upon for this year?
Yes, more of the trying to bring in my waist a little bit more because, like I said, I'm really blocky in the waist. I have a really thick core and posterior chain development. So I've been hitting that really hard since June. Everything on the posterior chain, upper lats, back density, back thickness, width, and glutes.
Okay. What is a typical training split for you?
Right now, I graze over the posterior chain 4 days a week.
Okay.
So I have several back days, several glute days, and then hamstrings, and then I'll brush over shoulders and chest quickly through the week.
As I understand it, you also suffered a major injury.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, what it was involved with that, and was that due to the training, or was that due to something else?
That was a work-related injury. I believe I tore my labrum and bicep tendon catching a patient when he
Oh
tried to
my
fall.
God.
And I just caught him, and my bicep tendon just ripped and tore my labrum. I trained with it for a while, and then I ended up having it repaired not too long after I got off stage. And then my coach really didn't want me to compete that next year, and rightfully so. But I'm hard to deal with sometimes. And once I get it stuck in my mind that I want to do something, I do. And that 9 months later, that's when I turned pro.
Okay.
For my surgery date. So.
And on the subject of coaching, are you still coached by Rashad Howse of Brick House Physiques? How did you guys get together?
Well, that first show that I did in bikini, I kept hearing that name, Brick House Physiques, being announced with a winner here and a winner there. And I was like, so I just started getting nosy and looking him up on Instagram, and it just planted a seed. And at that point in time, the coach that I had for my very first show, I got no reverse diet. I didn't know anything about the post-show blues or that I needed to stay doing cardio and eating right. I was just kind of tossed out. So I ended up messaging him on Instagram asking if he was taking new clients, and that's been years ago. And we had a couple of phone calls, and then we ended up linking up, and I'm still with him.
Okay. Now, what is it about him that makes him stand out to you as opposed to all the other coaches out there? What was the thing that caused you to click? Or what is the thing that makes you want to stay with him as opposed to moving on to others?
He actually listens to me because, like I said, I'm very peculiar with me being a full-time working mom. Like I work a full-time job and then a second part-time job, and I have 2 kids. I have a very strict schedule, and I'm very specific on when I can compete and when I can't. And he respects that. He doesn't try to say, well, you need to do this show or it's later in the year. So he respects my boundaries and my wishes, and we find a way to work together on that.
Okay. Does he handle now all aspects of prep, training, dieting, and posing, or is it just one of them?
He handled everything for the first few years, but then I decided to outsource my posing because I wanted to up my game and be able to compete on the stage against Olympians. And Sharonica Hinton now takes care of my posing.
Okay, and that's the profit posing over on IG, right? Yeah.
So posing, and she's phenomenal. She's great.
Okay. Wonderful. Now, I was going to also ask you, can you describe for everybody your experience with post-show blues? Because like we were talking before we went live, it just amazes me how many people, especially coaches, when it comes to new competitors, people who are new to this, they don't tell them about this.
Right.
They don't share this and say, hey, this is what's going to happen after your show. You're going to start feeling this way. The shreds are going to start going away. That's going to basically give you a mind fuck. And, and then basically such like that. But they don't communicate that. And it just boggles my mind that they don't do it, because this is a very real thing. What was your experience? What were some of the things for other people out there who are wanting to know what it is we're talking about right now? What were some of the things that happened with you, both like mentally and physically, with your first experience?
the more that I do this, the easier that I can contain my emotions, because I know what to expect and I know that it's coming. So I just channel my energy somewhere else. I just shift the goal from stage to improving something else because the stage is no longer there. For a while, I just have to shift gears and say, okay, I'm just going to hammer my back 3 days a week, and that's my goal for the next X amount of time. In the beginning, though, the first couple of seasons, I would nearly melt down. That scale would shift even 1 pound, and it would send me tail spinning. And that's where my coach is also really good about keeping my blinders on, I guess, about keeping me focused. The scale is going to go up, but you have to make improvement. It's necessary. You're going to get softer. You can't say that lean forever. It's not healthy. So just keep that in mind as you push toward another goal.
All right. Yeah, it's good that there are other people. It's like yourself, who it's like not you've been through it, but you also know what to tell other people.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, this is a real phenomenon. This really does go on. Pretty much everybody goes through it. These are the sorts of things that you need to watch for.
Right, because nobody's clapping for you anymore when you're getting thicker and you're getting softer. You know, you have this parade of people behind you during your prep cheering you on. Yay, you've lost a pound. Good job. You're looking great. When's your show? And then what? So you just have to make sure to shift gears and just line your focus somewhere else.
And that is what has been the best thing for you.
Absolutely.
To deal with that is to just focus on that. And then how much is reverse diet a factor in that? It's like improving things.
Huge. I blew my first reverse diet with my coach now just because of that hunger factor. I'd never experienced hunger like that before because with figure, you have to get significantly leaner than bikini so that you're just hungry. You know, even though you're eating a full meal, your body is still not telling you that you're full. So he was really good about, yes, this is normal. You know, he allowed certain foods and more here and more there. And I had to adhere to a diet the whole time after a show, but my physique showed it in my reverse. I was able to stay pretty lean while pushing my calories up pretty high, and not gaining a lot of body fat once you nail your reverse, once you stick it.
Okay.
And your body is really vulnerable in that 6 to 8 weeks post show. You can really put on a lot of muscle, or you can put on a lot of body fat. So your diet kind of determines which way you go with that.
Okay. Now you said you're married with 2 daughters?
I am.
Yeah. How has your family reacted to mom being a bodybuilder, or how that she's got all this muscle as opposed to other women who don't? What's been their reaction to it?
They were so young when I started that I am normal to them and everybody else is abnormal when it's the opposite.
Okay.
So everybody else don't have muscle. Very used to it. They just go to the gym with me. That's their lifestyle. They eat the same foods I do. They eat whole foods. My oldest daughter wanted to start working out with me and training with me and doing cardio. So, I mean, that's just normal to them. And it's cute. At school, they'll pull up, like on Google, and they'll pull up my picture, like, this is my mom. And I'm like, that's cute. That's cool. You know?
That's great. Any aspirations among the 2 of them as to follow in mom's footsteps into bodybuilding, or?
I'm not sure on that one. My youngest one, probably not. Sweating just isn't her thing. The jury's still out on the oldest one.
Okay. Now I've also got some stuff as to what you do as a job. Do you still work as a physical therapist?
Oh, I've been there 18 years. Yeah.
18 years. Okay. And that's in rehab, in the rehab section?
Absolutely.
Or is all physical therapy considered rehab?
All physical therapy is rehab. Yeah. Rehab services.
Okay. Yeah. What is it that appeals to you about that as a profession? What is it that caused you to want to get into that?
I'm a nerd, and I love the human body and the physiology behind it. So that's kind of what drove me into that. That was the fact that I've always been an athlete. It was just kind of a good fit.
Is there any particular age group that you try to focus on, or is it just physical therapy for anybody in general?
I work in several settings. I do acute care, outpatient, and home health. And then I also do like athletic training for a football team on Friday nights with the high school boys. But my favorite is geriatrics. I love our little retired population.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you offer coaching yourself?
I do.
As far as that. Now, do you do competition coaching or lifestyle coaching, or is it both?
But and right
Okay.
now, I have more male clients than I do female clients.
Interesting. Why do you think that is?
No idea. No clue.
Okay. So what's your favorite gym to train at?
Loudon Fitness Center. It's a really small hometown gym.
Okay. And we had talked about this earlier, but for everybody else, what makes that gym stand out? What is it? You said you had a membership in a couple of gyms, but you prefer that one as opposed to the other one. What is it that makes it stand out to you?
It's hard to explain. It's just a vibe. The owners are nice. The people who work there, the staff, they're nice and they're encouraging. And nobody looks at you with a condescending manner when you walk in because you have a little more muscle than normal. The equipment's nice. He's tailored more toward the pieces of equipment that benefit bodybuilders as compared to some of the other places. And he's always like, what can we get that would help? What piece of equipment would you like in here? So they're just really supportive.
Well, that's interesting that they're asking the members, say, hey, how can we improve this? And then make an effort to get that equipment.
Yeah,
so interesting. Now, one thing I know that especially people, not necessarily now, because you've got the New Year's resolutioners who are going to be overwhelming the gyms for like the next 2 months, and then the motivation will disappear and then it goes back to normal. But what is some advice from your experience of going to the gym? One thing I know that turns people off to going to the gym or new gym is that they're intimidated by the gym culture. You've got all these, depending on what gym you go to, I mean, you have these, especially in your case, you got these really muscular people who know exactly what they're doing and working out, and they get intimidated by that. And it's like, then they decide, oh, well, I'm either going to go somewhere else or I feel too intimidated. I'm not going to go at all. What is some advice for people who are from you, being a regular gym goer, for people who are like that? What is that a realistic expectation on their part? Are they overreacting? What would you have to say to them?
I understand why they would feel that way because I felt that way at one point when I first started out. But the people with the most muscle in the gym are usually the nicest ones and the ones that'll help you the most if you've asked. And second to that, nobody's really paying attention to anybody other than their workout. You may feel like you are out of place and you don't know what you're doing, but the rest of us have our headphones on and we're zoned out, focusing on what we need to do. So we're not really paying attention to what you're doing. But if they need help, please ask because we want you there. It's not like, please get out of the way, please go home. That's not it. We want you to win and we want you to stay healthy too.
Can you give an example of that happened at your own gym?
Yeah.
Someone coming in and then that what you described happening to them?
I've had several ladies come up to me over the past few years and they would just tap me on the shoulder and say, I'm sorry to bother you. I've wanted to say something to you for 3 months, but you're scary. And I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, hi. But they just had a question on why I was doing something on a piece of equipment, like to get a different mind muscle connection or something. Well, why are you doing this with this piece of equipment? And I would explain why. And if you have any questions, I'm not mean and I'm not scary. We're here to help.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about sponsorships. I've got a couple here that I'm assuming you're still with. I don't know if you're still with, but Armor 6, which is a clothing company.
Yes, it's a military style clothing line.
And then also it now is, as I understand it, is it created by veterans?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so, and is it specifically for people who are veterans, or is it just?
Because I'm not a vet, my husband is.
Okay.
He's a special forces veteran, but I've never served, and it's clothing, that I could wear.
How did you guys get together? And sorry, go ahead.
Just we met through friends of friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what is it about that particular company as opposed to the other clothing company that's out of there that really caught your attention, that you wanted to work with them?
Well, cool story there. He's from the same hometown that I am from. He was from Sweetwater as well. And then he moved off and life and he moved to Alabama, I believe. And then he just started reaching out to me on Facebook, and I remembered him from my childhood. He was friends with my brother, so it started from there.
Excellent. Another one that I've got here, Borealis Bikinis.
Yes.
You're still working with them. Same questions in regard to that. How did you guys get together, and what is it out of all of the large amount of bikini companies out there? What is it that stands out to you about them?
I'm a loyal dog. Usually once I get affiliated and established with somebody, I tend not to veer off path. I reached out to her for my very first show in bikini years ago, and she just custom made me a suit, and it was beautiful. It was everything that I wanted, and it fit me like a glove. So I had no reason to go anywhere else. So over the years, after purchasing a few suits, the year that I turned pro is she sponsored me, and
Oh, excellent.
yeah.
All right. So it's not just you buying the suit; it's also reciprocal in that she's wanting to help you as well.
Yeah, and it was a big help not having to pay for a $1,000 suit. It was huge.
Right. It's like it just boggles my mind how much of these suits you ladies have to do, and that's something men never have to worry about. It's
Right.
like how much they spend on posing trunks in a competitive season or board shorts, and then you hear about these prices of women paying anywhere up to $1,000, $2,000 for
Yeah.
one of these suits, and then usually it's a one and done. It's like they'll
Yeah.
use that one time and then they'll move on to something else. So
Right.
it just boggles my mind how expensive that gets.
For such little fabric.
Right. But then also on top of that, just the expense of this in general. It's like this can get so expensive. Training, dieting, supplementation. Like we were saying, posing suits, travel, accommodation, the fees you got to pay, even as a pro, like you have to pay, what is it, $350?
I just renewed my pro card last week, and it was $275
Oh my God. And that doesn't include everything else that goes into a prep.
No,
like, what have you found that has been helped you in addition to the sponsorships and such like that?
I just know to my budget accordingly. Like I know that I'm going to have hotel expenses. I know that I'm going to have travel expenses, and I don't just travel by myself. Every show that I've done, my husband and my girls go with me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he helps out too as far as the expenses go.
I probably couldn't do it without him. He puts in my hair extensions for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I really couldn't do it without him, and he makes sure that the kids are taken care of while I'm on stage because they want to be back there with me, but they can't. So it's good. It's a good teamwork thing.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I wanted to get your thoughts on a couple of things. It's like we all saw that Vancouver is out now as far as women's physique goes. They pulled that there. Then they also have pulled the St. Louis Pro. Then they also pulled it out of the Legion Sports Fest. And it just seems like, and women's bodybuilding is in the same boat because it just seems like they keep pulling shows for these two divisions. What are your thoughts on the state of women's physique right now?
It's concerning because they're bringing in more like for the fit model, smaller look versus actual bodybuilding. So bodybuilding is struggling more so than women's physique because I think they only have like a handful of shows coming up through the year.
Right. Exactly.
I don't know if that's keeping more competitors from trying to compete in bodybuilding just because they see the path that it's going. I don't know. It's concerning though.
What are some ideas that you have as to how to improve things in women's physique?
Just encourage more women to get out there and participate. Any of the pros who have their card and have never competed in a pro show, jump in with both feet. Help us out,
Okay. It's kind of a controversial subject that is there in women's physique, and that's regarding women who already have, like in the pro ranks, who already have their Olympia qualifications, who then show up at other pro shows to be able to compete. I know Natalia Abraham Coelho is the one that everybody talks about, but you see this in like all women's divisions. It's like you have women's bodybuilding, you have women who already have an Olympia qualification and still show up. What are your thoughts on that? Do they need, because one side of the argument says they need to stay away because you're taking an Olympia qualification from others. You got the other side of the argument is, hey, they're a professional bodybuilder. This is literally their job.
Right.
And it's like they're wanting to earn money and such like that. What are your thoughts? Do you fall on one side or the other, or?
No, I'm just kind of neutral on that. I see both sides of the coin. I see you wanting to continue getting your paychecks time and time again, and if you're the best in the world, why not? But then I see you're knocking other people out of the chance to go to the Olympia too. So, I mean, I see both aspects of it. I don't fall in either category. I'm just neutral on it. It just really depends on who shows up that day.
Okay. Another subject that I found, I don't understand why this is even a controversy, because to me, this is like no big deal, but some people are adamant about this. And your thoughts on donation profiles for bodybuilders? Like if people set up a GoFundMe account or a PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, all these other ones that are there. Most people, it's like they do it again to like pay for this because I mean it's so expensive. But then I've seen other people just adamantly say, no, you shouldn't be doing that. That's against that's against the spirit of bodybuilding. And it's like, how? It's just the way I see it. But what are your thoughts? Is that something that people, if they have the opportunity to pursue it, or is it something they should avoid doing?
That's completely up to them. I have personally never had anybody like any GoFundMe for a show. I know that it's expensive and I budget accordingly, but I've also never saw anybody post one and be like, well, let me donate to them competing either. So I guess that's just it's individual. I don't really have a problem with it, but I don't do it myself.
I see.
Yeah. Okay. And a lot of competitors are picking up like second jobs to fund their competing and the expenses. So especially in the NPC where there's zero return.
Right.
So,
right. Exactly. And then even on the pro level, unless you get in the top 5 or the top 6, you're looking at like zero ROI on all of that, that you spend. So, well, it's been a delight to have you here. It's been wonderful to have you as a guest. It's been great to hear what's going on with you. What's your plan going into 2026 right now? Are you targeting the Omaha Pro again? Are you looking to any others? What does it look like for you in this next year?
There's a couple on my radar. This is my last week of my off season, so I start prep Sunday, and we're just gonna wing it. We're gonna see how my body responds, and when I'm ready, we'll just jump in, and whenever that may be. But there's a couple, like maybe 3 or 4, in line of sight, kind of in the same time frame.
There any that you can share with us?
I was looking, Omaha is a possibility. I was looking again at the Optimum Classic. You know, if I'm ready earlier, maybe New York or Pittsburgh. It just really depends.
Okay.
If I can't diet down quick enough, then it'll be a later show. So it just depends on what my body does.
All right. And I guess to round this out, this is what I usually finish up with as a question. Say you've got new competitors that are out there and they've gone into either they, like you, started in a different division and are looking into WPD, or they're brand spanking new to the whole bodybuilding scene and they're just jumping into WPD immediately. What is some advice that you have for people who are considering getting into women's physique, either because they started in another division and want to make the jump, or they're just starting out on bodybuilding and know they want to do women's physique immediately? What's some advice for them in terms of things that they should do and things that they shouldn't do?
You just need to be consistent. You just have to realize you're going to be a little bit bigger than the average female walking around being a physique competitor. So you have to be comfortable with having more muscle, and you just have to be consistent time and time again. Show up when you don't want to, fall in love with the posing, be able to hide your flaws and flaunt your assets, present your body the best way that you can.
Okay. What are some things they shouldn't do? What are some things they should avoid doing that you've seen? Being
forced to get too big too quickly. I see some coaches pushing so many drugs on competitors that it's really a hazard, a huge safety hazard. Don't get shoved into doing too many drugs, and follow your diet.
Right. Excellent. Well, this has been another edition of the Art of Female Muscle podcast. Megan Russell has been our guest. It's been a delight to have you. Thank
Thanks
you
for
for sharing. Thank you for sharing this all with us. Because as I said before, this is a learning experience for me as well to find out more about what you ladies go through in order to achieve these amazing physiques that you are been able to create. That I consider a stunning achievement. So,
Thank you.
thank you so very much for being with us. This has been another edition of Art of Fetal Muscle Podcast, and we're signing off. Thank you so much, Megan.
Thank you for having me.